This is the new BMW M5 and it's a world first for BMW's M division because there's something very unique about this car which you may like, oh yes, or you may not like. Now, to help you figure that out, we're going to run through the key stats on this car, compare them to previous M5s and this car's key competitors. I'm also going to talk you around the visual upgrades, very wide, the changes inside, I like this bit a lot, and of course the chassis upgrades, which BMW's engineers claim will ensure that this is a proper M car. Let's do this. Now, we all know that this car is a plug-in hybrid. BMW have said so, there's been lots of speculation, and yes, it is plug-in hybrid. But what we don't know for sure is exactly what is underneath the bonnet. Have they gone and downsized? Let's find out. Right, I'm opening this with trepidation. Oh yes, based on this engine cover, it's looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not going to trust that though. Let's count coil packs. It's quite hard to see. So there's 4 on this side. Let's just go the other side. Yes! 4 on this side, 2 turbos there. This is the 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 that you have in the XM and the X5M as well. And like the XM, it's mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox with an electric motor fitted to it. On its own, the engine produces 585 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. But that electric motor produces 197 horsepower and 280 newton meters of torque. You don't just add those figures together to get the combined power output. It's slightly less because they have to meet in the middle somewhere. But the total system power output for this car comes to 727 horsepower and 1000 newton meters of torque. And here's how that compares to the power and torque you got in every previous generation M5. This is all good stuff, you know. More power is more goodness. We all know that, right? Though there is a problem. You see, plug-in hybrids are a little bit on the heavy side usually because of all the battery tech and the motors and that kind of thing. It's no different with this car. It weighs in at 2.4 tons. That's 500 kilos more than the previous generation M5. And that's not good. It's also more than a ton heavier than the very first E28 M5. In fact, here's how the new car compares to every version of the M5 since the 1980s. Now, when you're talking about straight line accelerating performance, you can overcome that extra weight so long as you've got enough power. And that's where a car's power to weight ratio matters. So let's now compare the power to weight ratios of all previous M5s. As you can see, the M5's power to weight ratio has actually gotten worse for this brand new hybrid generation. And this all plays out in the car's 0 to 62 mile an hour sprint time. BMW says this new version of the M5 will do it in 3.5 seconds. The previous generation car will do it in 3.3 seconds. And the CS version of that, which was lighter than that car and had an extra 10 horsepower, would do it in 3 seconds. However, in my experience, BMW often lies about its numbers. The cars usually perform better than they say. So it's going to be interesting to see what the real world acceleration time is for this car. And I'll be finding out when I review it very shortly. And to make sure you don't miss out on that, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you'll be alerted when I upload that video. This is the first time in the M5's history that a new generation car isn't as quick as its predecessor. Now, I know some of you BMW fanboys might be going, whoa, wait man, wait. This is just the normal M5 and the engine is producing 585 horsepower. With the previous generation car, they introduced a competition version which had 25 more horsepower. So surely there will be a competition version of this with, say, over 600 horsepower from its petrol engine. So that'll be faster, won't it? Have a better power to weight ratio. Apparently there's going to be no competition version of this car. This is it for now. There'll probably be a CS or something like that, but no competition version of the M5. So why has BMW made the new M5 heavier and slower than the previous F90 version? Well, it's all to do with emissions targets. Every car maker has to tighten its belt and build cars that emit less CO2 than they did before. And fitting a hybrid is one of the most effective ways to do that. At least BMW didn't downsize the new M5's engine like AMG did with the new 2-litre C63. One of the things BMW wanted to do with this car was make it a usable hybrid. While some other performance car makers have gone down the route of just using a hybrid system to add performance, they wanted people to be able to enjoy this car, drive it around in electric mode for quite a distance. So it can do over 40 miles on electric power. That's because it's got a large battery, a relatively large one anyway. It's 18.6 kilowatt hours. The flip side is that it adds 205 kilograms in weight. But if you think about how people might use an M5, it could actually work out quite useful. You know, starting early in the morning, you want to pull away silently without annoying your neighbours, you can do it in electric only mode. And for me, as a performance car fan, I would hate doing short journeys in this car because I wouldn't want to heat cycle the engine. So for short journeys, if I own this car, I would definitely just drive around in electric only mode. And then when I wanted to have some fun or I was going a longer distance, I would engage the engine. Or am I just grasping at straws?
A more tangible benefit of this hybrid system is likely to be improved fuel economy. Yes, I know people who drive M5s probably don't have to worry about the price of fuel, but at least it means you have to fill up less often. And here's another good thing about the new M5, the way it looks.
First thing to note, the car is wider than a standard 5 Series. It's actually slightly wider than the old M5, so you've got one wheel arches, gives it a sort of hinge look. I'll tell you what adds to that, this bonnet, which is like on the M3. I really like this bonnet design. Here at the front, you've got a grille, which is like the one you can get on the i5 M60, so it lights up. Now, I have mixed feelings about these. I'd like to think that I wouldn't illuminate it, but the fact of the matter is, if I had this car, I would drive around with it illuminated. Speaking of the grille, the M5 actually has vents here. That's filled in lesser BMWs, but the biggest difference I think to do with the grille is more down here, where you've got much more aggressive bumpers with huge air intakes and vents. I'm just going to do a bit of fisting to check that they're real. It's real in there, that's all realness. It does look aggressive from the front. The only thing that I don't really like is that camera there looks a bit like a mole, and this big panel here which has all like the radar and all that kind of like auto cruise stuff behind it. It looks like they forgot to design that bit. From the side, the car sits low to the ground to give it a meaner look, and you've got 20-inch alloys at the front, 21s at the rear. But the big news is the fact that this panel, this side skirt, this rear panel, and this is bespoke to the M5. One thing you might notice is that unlike the previous generation of M5, there's no fake gills on the side and no M badging there either. The M badge on the side is here at the rear. Other things to note is that this car has the carbon pack, so you've got the door mirrors in carbon, but regardless of which ones you go for, they have the M design like that with the venting, and what's also included in the carbon pack, the all-important carbon roof. As standard, the car comes with a panoramic glass roof, but if you want the ultimate in sportiness, you may want that. I was going to go on how it actually reduces the centre of gravity because it's lighter, but really when you're at 2.4 tonnes, I don't think that's really relevant. The third and final part of the carbon pack is here at the rear, and it's the boot lip spoiler. If you don't have the carbon pack, then this spoiler will be in black colour. Now, I'm a bit disappointed that unlike with the M3, the carbon pack doesn't give you a carbon fibre rear diffuser. Speaking of the diffuser, which is obviously bespoke to this M5, I'm not sure about the design of it, the way it's split in the middle. Now, I've got a hunch as to why it's designed like that. You see, this M5 can be fitted with a tow bar and it'll pop out here. So I wonder if you have a diffuser like on the M3, you just wouldn't be able to do that. Now, the towing capacity of this car is 2,000 kilograms, which is all right for a hybrid. Now, another thing that they've changed here at the back of the M5, obviously you've got the M5 badging to match the M5 badging at the front. The whole rear bumper is wider. One thing I'm not sure about though is this bit. Now, I can tell they didn't want to have fake vents like Mercedes would have done, so they've put some reflectors in there, but it just seems I'm not that into that part of the design. I do like this though. Quad tailpipes, really, really nice. And there is absolutely no fakery with these. They are completely real and very, very wide. I actually can get my hand in there. I feel like I'm birthing a cow.
This feels like a good time to listen to the engine's cold start. That's not bad at all, but one of my favourite things about the new M5 is the new M animation that plays on the dashboard when you get in.
Oh, I like that. I like this bit a lot. Yeah, you only get that on the M. That's really nice.
But that's not the only thing BMW has changed about the M5's interior.
So we've got the M steering wheel, and it feels a little bit thinner rimmed than M's of old, but still quite chunky. It's flat bottomed, you've got an M logo there, but this bit here just feels a little bit cheap and plasticky. I'm also a little bit disappointed that the paddle shifters are plastic, whereas on the M3 they are carbon fibre. You get these big M1 and M2 buttons which you can pre-configure, so when you're driving along you can press and change mode to exactly what you want. You do have the centre marker there, which is very important. Makes it feel sporty, doesn't it? Now there's loads of other M treatments going on in here. So we've got an M logo here on the iDrive controller. We've got a red starter button. We have red little icons down here to just increase the racy feel here in the cabin. That is highlighted more so though by these sport seats. So you get merino leather as standard, and they do feel nice and comfortable, yet fairly body hugging. And of course you have the illumination of the M5 logo there. You've also got M logo on the welcome lights when you open the door. You've got M logo on the sills, the all important M tricolour here on the seat belts, and aluminium pedals. Plus you have some M specific stuff here in the infotainment system, like your M lap timer. You get a heads up display as standard with M graphics, and you get M graphics as well here on the main driver's display. Shame I can't drive it yet. Here in the back seats you've got the same merino leather as you do in the front, and the stripes on the seat belts. As standard, this car gets a Bowers & Wilkins stereo, which is lovely. You can upgrade to this Alcantara headlining, which does feel nice, although obviously there's no point if you have the standard car with a panoramic glass roof, which obviously this one doesn't have. One thing that's interesting is that there's 20mm more knee room in the back of this compared to the old M5, because it's got a slightly longer wheelbase, so it feels adequately spacious, decent headroom, lots of knee room, all rather comfortable. It's nice.
I know what you're thinking. All this extra space in the back makes the car larger, which is just another reason why it's the heaviest M5 ever made. And all this extra weight is going to affect how it feels to drive, right?
BMW's M engineers say no, it won't. It'll feel exactly like an M5 should to drive, because we've made some significant chassis upgrades. They probably said all that in a German accent, but you get what I mean. And I'm going to talk you through them now. You get lowered, stiffened, adaptive M Sport suspension, which has been specifically tuned to this car. The engine mounts and front strut braces have been strengthened. The connection between the front subframe and the steering rack is more rigid for better response. At the back, the stiffer axle mounts, strut braces, and you get rear axle steering as standard. And to cope with the extra weight, you might want to go for the optional carbon ceramic brakes.
And of course, BMW has tweaked the 5 Series all-wheel drive system for this new M5. Though as before, it does still have that rear-wheel drive mode for smoky hybrid drifting. But the last nagging problem with this new M5 could be the price. After all, every new car seems to be significantly more expensive than the model it replaces. And all this new battery and hybrid tech is bound to come with a massive price hike, right?
But no, you see, the outgoing model without any hybrid technology was £108,000. This one is more expensive, but only by £2,000. It starts from £110,000. I wasn't expecting that. Question is though, will it be better to drive than its predecessor? Well, only time will tell, won't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to watch some other videos, click on the video windows. And if you want to sell your car the easy way, just click on the CarWow logo. Thanks for watching.